This is the morning message for November the 2nd, 2025, here on Following Him, the Disciple Life. To begin our day and as part of Give Thanks November, we're going to consider Genesis 22, verses 13 through 14. Then Abraham lifted his eyes and looked, and there behind him was a ram caught in a thicket by its horns. So Abraham went and took the ram and offered it up for a burnt offering instead of his son. And Abraham called the name of the place, "The Lord will provide," as it is said to this day, "In the mount of the Lord it shall be provided." Now this, of course, is when Abraham had been commanded to offer Isaac as a burnt offering, and he was going to go through with it, and God stops him at the very last moment. He's getting ready to kill Isaac, and the angel of the Lord stops him. And when it's considered who the angel of the Lord is in the Old Testament, that kind of gets amazing, because the angel of the Lord is probably the pre-incarnate Christ. Not that Christ is an angel like we normally think of angel, but the word angel can mean just messenger. In this case, he is the messenger of the Lord, messenger of Yahweh, and stops Abraham from killing Isaac. And we have this thing where a substitutionary sacrifice is provided. Now, from the standpoint of understanding what Christ would ultimately do, that's kind of amazing to consider too. What's called typology. The typology that is here is just astounding. Typology being pictures and illustrations and things that are symbolic in the Old Testament of things that were going to take place in the New Testament. Not that these things weren't literal. This literally happened, but certain things were chosen to be written down that looked to bigger truths when it came to God's plan, when it comes to the Christ and to his church and to things connected to the Christ and his church. As far as Thanksgiving goes, as far as giving thanks, that's not mentioned directly in these verses, but consider Abraham before was going to do this because that's how obedient he was. And we know from Hebrews that Abraham, he had figured in his mind that God was going to raise Isaac. Like, he figured that, well, he knew that through Isaac he would have all these descendants, and so, and through Isaac, all the families of the earth would be blessed. So God must be going to raise him from the dead. But yet still, Abraham's human. The angst this must have involved, like, from a human standpoint, this could not have been an easy thing. And so just put yourself in Abraham's place when you realize that you didn't have to do this. And when you realize that there is a sacrifice in the place of the one you love. There's got to be some thanksgiving in this burnt offering that he offered. This sacrifice that he offered, it would have taken on a new depth and a new strength. Consider that for us. That there is a sacrifice that has been offered in place of the ones that we love. And that would include ourselves. If you love your neighbor as yourself, it's inferable that you are supposed to love yourself. A sacrifice has been offered in our place. The Lord will provide. And in this case, it reminds us of the most important thing he provides: salvation in his Son through that substitutionary sacrifice on the cross. This is the Lord's Day. I encourage you to worship and study with followers of Jesus. Those are truly Christians. And of course, part of that, this being the first day of the week, will include a memorial of that sacrifice. with the emblems of the flesh and blood that the bread and the fruit of the vine are. So I encourage you to be worshiping with the Lord's church today. Thank you for being with me, and shalom.